Hey everyone, welcome to Pretty Privilege. I'm Tana Monner. Today's video, I wanted to go ahead and talk about 7 benefits of not being on social media. Now, if you guys don't know my backdrop history with social media, I've been off of Facebook since October 2013, and I've been off of Snapchat since the summer of 2021. Now, I'm not opposed in any way to social media. I love what it can do for networking, for individuals who really need it for like their careers. But in all of these years of being off of social media, I found that there's a lot of benefits and pros towards not needing it to fill up my cup. All right, so without further ado, let's get into the audio video.
Number one benefit of being off of social media is you are completely in charge of yourself. Once I deactivated and deleted my social media accounts, in the beginning, I always wondered what was happening online, what was the latest news, and what was being talked about amongst people in my circle. I unknowingly became a slave to social media by needing it to fill up my free time throughout my day. And now that I've been sober for all of these years, I feel completely in charge of not needing it to fulfill any personal desires. When you get off of social media, you become detached from the outside world in a way. And, there's still newspapers and magazines and Google that you can rely on for valid information or even like for the weather or whatnot. But this benefit of being completely in charge of yourself is huge because when you're not on social media, it allows for your conscious mind and your subconscious to be completely fine with your own current reality and not needing social media to fill any type of void and or escapism. Number 2, you're not missing out on life. I began to think when I was off of social media if I was really losing out on life, if I was missing out on anything important. And then it hit me that if I was really missing out on anything important, how is it that I'm still alive? We all need food, water, a roof to live under, or if you're like me, from Hawaii, a hut will do. Okay, that was a joke. But really, I evaluated my life and knew all major amenities were crossed off. Social media is a luxury, but it's not needed to survive. You're not missing out on life. This is a big benefit because, and I get it, when you're on social media, you really feel like you need to be in the mix with a lot of different topics or people, conversations, but in reality, you don't. I understand virtual reality, is real to some people, but we're humans and we don't live forever. So why not enjoy the life that we can right now in this physical moment that we're here? Number 3, less anxious. Social media is the perfect place to be influenced about anything and everything at any time. Social media is available 24/7. It never sleeps. It's a place to where, it's a very positive place. Like I said, social media creates jobs and careers and there's networking. There's so much that is available. But I also believe that sometimes it is okay to step away from the whole mix of it all. Social media platforms create an open and endless space for everyone's voice to be heard. But you have to put into consideration who these people are, what are their motives, and are their voices even important to you or in general? Also, what good are some of their opinions if they're just going to be biased, I became less anxious towards life when I got off of social media because all that noise from people's opinions and videos and it became irrelevant to me because I stopped allowing it to be relevant to me. I would worry about what was happening in the world. I became paranoid and I always thought that I needed a knife and pepper spray everywhere it is that I went. I mean, I'm a cautious person, when out in public, but I feel like social media created this intensity that the world was an inhumane place all day, every day. And with me, it made me anxious about a lot of things. When you're off of social media, this benefit of becoming less anxious really comes into play and fruition because it doesn't always keep you up at night. You know, things that you see on your feed when you're scrolling, sometimes you begin to overthink. I mean, like I said, we're human, we have insignificant thoughts. But when you step away from social media, you do become less anxious. And especially when you're not in a healthy mindset already, when you don't know yourself, when you don't know your own strengths or weaknesses, you begin to compare yourself or have lower self-esteem because of what you see on social media that then makes you feel more depressed or anxious. Number 4 benefit of not being on social media, you have more time to focus on your own self-interests. One of my favorite benefits, but by not having social media, it's really given me more time to focus on my self-interests of swimming, being outdoors, going to the library to read, traveling. And instead of putting my energy and time into social media, I switched it to fill up my time, to fill up my own personal cup of self-interests. Do this. This is a huge benefit. Whether you like to play sports or you're into academics, you like to get out, or if you're a homebody, maybe you like to cook, maybe you like to, I don't know. I mean, just find some type of, interest that you don't need social media to always be on in order for you to have fun in your life. I know that with some people, I've spoken with in the past, they're like, oh, I'm only on social media for like 15, 20 minutes a day. Like, it doesn't do any harm. Okay. But instead of that 15, 20 minutes of being on social media, maybe you could just pick up a book. Maybe you can learn a new language. Maybe you can just hang out. You don't even have to do anything, but instead you're deciding to be on social media. Spend that time with yourself. Enjoy your own company. You don't have to be or have social media to keep you company. Number 4, more time to focus on self-interest is a big benefit because it allows you just to get to know you a bit more. I love this one. Number 5, less on your plate. When I got off of social media, I felt as if there was less on my plate I never wanted in the first place. It's a weird analogy, but that saying less is more came into play. And wherever it is that you are in life, if you're a student, if you're a parent, if you're working full time, if you're all of the above, it feels more genuine to put love into more fulfilling outlets in your life. When I, was on social media, I was obsessed with the amount of followers I had, and it became this obsession that controlled my psyche. I wanted more numbers. I wanted to prove to myself that I was important, that I was worth being seen, that I was popular. And once I left, it made me realize none of this was important. There was less on my plate, and it really felt like weight had just been shed from my whole body. I want you to think about how beneficial it is to remove anything from your life that doesn't serve you as a person, and vice versa. By having less on your plate, you now have more time to focus and concentrate on what's in front of you without having to multitask or give a little bit of yourself here and a little bit of yourself there. Because in the long run, you're not fully giving anything, really. Especially if social media is still on your mind, throughout the day, you're not on it, you're doing a certain task, but then, you're thinking about, I want to be on social media, I want to check in, I want to see what's going on. How does this serve you? It doesn't. There's less on your plate, less for you to worry about. This is a very important benefit. Number 6, removing yourself from drama and irrelevancy. Need I say more? Number 7, looked at as different. Last and final benefit of not having social media is that I feel people who are not on X, Instagram, what else? Snapchat, Facebook, I feel like we're looked at as quote unquote different, it's interesting to some other people because, and in my experience, this is a benefit. We're looked at as more personable, private, intimate, a little bit weird, but at the same time, it's a good feeling just to let people know from, the get, I'm not on social media. You're not going to be able to access me in any shape, way, or form unless you text me and or call me. Like, I just don't have social media. When I've told people this in the past, they are bought aback, and then they usually have like these follow-up questions as to how is it that I find out about the news, or how do I talk to other people, or I don't know, just like these really weird questions. Like, they think I'm weird and I'm thinking that they're weird. I don't know. But I feel like this is a benefit being looked at as different because there's nothing wrong with that. And according to Google, around 30% of Americans do not use social media. Now, this may be because they don't have internet access or any type of like technology. I understand that. But even without social media, this is a benefit because I feel like I said, in the previous reasons, it's really not needed to survive or to get by in life. It is a luxury, but I don't mind being looked at as different. And you shouldn't either if you're thinking about getting off of social media to do a detox, or if you're just tired with the whole platform, itself. Like I mentioned, there are many benefits to having social media, and I believe with the pros, there are cons towards platforms. But to me, these have been 7 benefits as to not having social media, experiences that I've gone through, and what it is that I truly believe will help you if in the event you decide to not be on social media. I'm Tenamane. Thank you for tuning in here on Pretty Privilege, and take care, everyone. Bye.